again. I don't know what to
So who are you and what is your business?
Well, my name is Rossenham, and I have a design business. It's focusing to different kind of disciplines and goes from architecture design to product design.
What aspects are there to your business?
I think that number one, it's like having. I think that it's crazy that design have a lot of power in society, and for me, the most important stuff is like bringing good design in a really honest price, because sometimes design goes like whoa, crazy with numbers, and I think that it's not really nice, like having only design for only one part of society. So that would be maybe the main topic for me, like when I think about how I do my job.
Amazing. Yes. Okay, stop it. A stakeholder would be any group or individual that is affected or can affect your business's achievements. So my question is for you, who are the most important stakeholders in your business and why?
Right, I think that my clients, because in the end, it's the purpose of my business is to create particular consequences for particular needs. So I have some doubts about, I don't know, like hyper-production of objects and products. So I think that the client is, for me, the most honest way for finding a really different platform for developing design, instead of just spending a lot of money and just having complicated situations on the way how I just put the money into different fields of the business. Yeah.
So Rick, what channels of communication do you use with your clients and your prospective clients?
I think that the internet is the best tool for having the most, I don't know, honest communication, because in the end, I think that visual manifestos, they're so, I don't know, you are able to put in the idea on the brain of your client and the people that you want to see your ideas or your business in the most particular way. So I think that the internet is the best.
Rick, what are your company's values and how do you communicate those values with your stakeholders?
I think that the most important stuff for me is like having fair design for society, and yeah, I think that, well, even as Mexican, it's crazy that culture and design, they're so close now. So in one way, like design have this paper of showing the values of a culture to Mexican society, and I think that that's a really big responsibility. So for me, it's like just trying to have the more honest and humble somehow feelings to showing and sharing with people like objects that make them feel themselves somehow, and the way how I just communicate all of this stuff into media is, I don't know, it's kind of organic somehow, because it's, you know, like I just have this place like the atelier and
It's okay. Oh no, did you stop it? No, carry on.
fuck.
So to carry on from our interruption, corporate identity is the profiles and values communicated by your organization. So our question for you is, what methods do you use in building your corporate identity?
Alright, I think that something really particular about the whole continent is that somehow, yeah, in some areas of this continent, many people is really focused into like hyper aesthetic somehow, and media, you know, like I think it's crazy that Mexico have this particular situation, like being next to the US, and somehow Mexican people, they're really into the topic of hyper aesthetics. It's like visuals and stuff like that, and I don't know, I think that I really enjoy to explore, number one, like knowing what's going on outside, like the way how people really understand something good in the best way, actually, I don't know, when you think about Apple, they have this hyper perfect way for showing something is like, oh, ta-da, or something like that. So I try to simulate that in the way how I just develop my products and ideas. And I think that the best way for showing that is, I don't know, I think that Instagram is a really good tool because it's like, number one is hyper global compared to Facebook. I think that somehow Facebook is kind of local because it's like people around you, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. So I think that Instagram is really honest because allows you to be like in the same field of other companies of other different areas of the planet. And maybe this could sound weird, but I think that hashtags they're really really useful for like having this equal communication between, as I said, other areas of the planet. So yeah, I think that hypervisuals, aesthetics, media stuff, for me is like the best way for like bringing something good for my company.
So with your Instagram account, what is the main purpose of that? Is it something like selling products or?
All right, I think that it's crazy when you think about how a lot of people is just developing business around the planet. Some people they just pretend to showing or doing something. You're like, I want to do this, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. But I feel that the more like the best business that I ever met around the planet is when they're so honest with themselves. So it's more about like just telling a story instead of just pretending to showing something like we need to show this, blah blah blah. It's more like that's what I said, like organic before, like when you just are able to knowing what you're feeling with your brand, with your business, and when you're able to feel how all of these feelings are able to show in a kind of visual way. It's just actually like telling something to other people in a visual way, and it's for me that's when organic makes sense because it's like I feel this and I don't know how this must look. Sorry, instead of saying like yeah, all right, this works on the media and stuff like that. So that's what I said, like pretending something. So I think that for me it's more like just being honest with myself and telling a story around. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Rick. You have taught us a lot about your business and was super interesting. So, muchas gracias.
This area is like, thank you so much.
Ciao, ciao.